Good morning. Welcome to our June 10th, 2025 Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners meeting. Our first order of business will please stand and join me for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our second item is agenda review.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Do I have a motion for the agenda?
Move the review.
Got a motion of a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
I'll move to recess for the economic development meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to recess for the economic development. All in favor, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We will call our Economic Development Authority meeting for June 10th, 2025 to order. Agenda review. Bob?
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to this agenda.
Okay.
I'll move it.
Got a motion of a second?
Second.
A second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Minutes of May 6, 2025.
Move the minutes.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. All right, thank you. Nancy? Good morning.
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 Good to see you both. Got a couple items to deal with today. Good. Going on. You can just introduce yourselves and start off. I got phase 5 of the partnership on my agenda. So
Sure. My name is Nancy Bokelman and staff for the EDA. And then we have
Jen Thieneman, Director of Real Estate and Community Development for Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership.
good morning.
and Jen is here today to put in a request for the Community Land Trust. They're working on putting together an application for Minnesota Housing and are seeking support from the EDA. And so I'll turn it over to Jen to talk about their request.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. As discussed not too long ago, we're working on phase 5 for the City of Mankato implementation of the Partnership Community Land Trust. We have been working on this for quite a few years, so this is just the continuation of continuing to seek funding from the state and looking for local support to leverage a successful application with the state. For phase 5 application, we're submitting for 10 homes in the City of Mankato proper, and write-downs that support that we've been able to leverage, not only Minnesota housing funding. We've received New Markets tax credits, which is federal dollars that is secured, that comes through the Housing Partnership Network. City of Mankato funds, philanthropy funds from the Target Foundation, as well as Otto Brummer Trust. So now seeking some additional funds to help us to lower the cost of the homes for the participants. Our home ownership advisors work with City of Mankato residents to not only qualify them, but also do all the things that are necessary, whether that's credit credit score fixing, implementation. There's home buyer education that they're mandated to go through. These homes would be at 80% area median income or less, which is in the low 90s for a household income. And the cost of construction is quite high, as you likely know. And so we're needing to layer a lot of leverage support to reduce the cost so it's attainable for families in the community.
They were looking for the support of $250,000 for the 10 homes, or $25,000 for each home. And we were bringing to you the money that you have set aside in the Housing Trust Fund, and that is the SAHA funds, the Statewide Affordable Housing Aid dollars. And we just got word yesterday that your grant application to Minnesota Housing for additional monies to come into the grant was funded. So they matched the $150,000 that the EDA put into the project. So you have this $300,000 that would be available At our last meeting, you did allocate the Phase 4 funds of the $250,000, so we did have that. We were hoping we could use those new grant funds for that, and there's still $50,000 that would be available for that. Plus, you have $400,267 in the statewide affordable housing aid that you have access to. So we would encourage you to consider $150,000 to go towards this request for the Community Land Trust.
Yeah, 150, 125 from the city and 125 from us, so that's good. Any questions? Good,
Second.
thank you. We got a motion and a second to approve the Partnership Community Land Trust Agreement.
Looks like a
Any-
great
Yeah.
program. Thanks for all your work on this.
Yeah, Jen, when you say there is layers of funding and trying to organize it and orchestrate all that and get the approval from each individual, got to be a lot of work. So thanks for doing all that.
Yeah.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
No, it's all good.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. And I got Affordable Housing Trust Fund Advisory Committee membership.
And I know last month too, you also had appointed 4 members to this board, and one of the members, Christy Wilkie with the Mayo Foundation, was unable to continue that. So we were bringing before you Corey Merle with the Pioneer Bank, who's had years of experience working in banking. He's also worked with Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership, has a good understanding of affordable housing in our community. He works a lot with smaller landlords in our community, which is an asset for us as we try to engage with landlords. And then he is also on the board for Habitat for Humanity, so he really has a good handle in our community what affordable housing is. And so we'd make a request that you would appoint Corey Merle to the advisory board.
All right,
I'll move that.
Second.
got a motion and a second for the appointment. Is there any discussion?
Looks good.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Bridges Program through Minnesota Housing Agreement.
And for the Bridges program, as you remember, we did have this program back for many years until 2019, where we received a lot of mainstream vouchers. We received 112 mainstream vouchers, and so we were utilizing, and that is for elderly, non-elderly disabled individuals, which covered those that met the criteria for Bridges. So we did not renew the Bridges program because we were able to use these 120 vouchers. Now we have a waiting list for that, and so we did go back to the state of Minnesota to seek an award of additional vouchers, and we did work regionally because it is a partnership with the South Central community-based mental health initiative, and so they cover 10 counties in our central Minnesota here. And so we requested 25 vouchers, and we were awarded the 25, and the funding is $437,801, and it is for a 2-year term. And we do receive administrative fees of $81 for each family per month. And so we are asking you today to sign the grant agreement and authorize the cooperative agreement with the South Central Community-Based Mental Health Initiative. So they will provide the support services, and we'll be coming in with providing that rental assistance.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Any questions for Nancy? What are the wishes of the board?
Move
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the Minnesota Housing Agreement, another exciting program, and to get them all, that's awesome. Yeah. So, any other discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. That brings me to the end of my agenda. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, a motion to adjourn the EDA meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, our next item on the agenda is our County Dish 56 hearing for proposed petition under outlet under Minnesota Statute 103E-401. Are there any changes to the agenda today?
No.
Okay, do I have a motion for the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the agenda that is printed. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The purpose of today's hearing is to present the engineer's report and also take public comment on a proposed petition in impoundment waters in Blue Earth County Ditch 56 watershed. The order of the business for this hearing is as follows. Staff will review the jurisdictional documents. We will hear from the appointed engineers, and then we will open it up for public comments. I will ask Craig to give us from our drainage staff to review the jurisdictional documents at this time.
Okay. The hearing notice was mailed on May 27th, 2025. Notice was posted for the hearing outside the Blue Earth County Historic Courthouse located at 204 South 5th, Mankato, Minnesota. Notice of public hearing was also published in the Mankato Free Press on May 20th, 27th, and June 3rd, 2025. As far as the memo here, this is for County Ditch 56 Sant Sediment Basin petition for impoundment. It's a 103E.227 hearing. Purpose: the County Ditch 56 watershed is approximately 9,400 acres in size and located in Garden City and Lincoln Townships. On May 11th, 2025, a petition to impound, reroute, and divert portions of County Ditch 56 open ditch was received on behalf of the petitioners from Blue Earth County Soil and Water Conservation District and Michael and Liz Sant. The proposed petition affects portions of the property line in Section 5 of Garden City Township. On April 8th, 2025, Charles J. Brandel of ISG was appointed as the engineer for these proceedings and ordered to produce and submit an engineer's review report. At today's meeting, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we are seeking approval of the draft finance order granting the petition to impound, reroute, divert portions of County Ditch 56 public drainage system waters, including approval pending signatures of all necessary drainage easements. That's it for jurisdictional documents.
Thank you, Craig. Any
Move
questions?
the documents.
Thank you. Do I have a second for the documents?
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the documents. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I will now ask the ISG staff to come forward to present the engineer's report. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning. Chuck Brandel with ISG. So I've got the legal requirements of this report. Jacob Mueller did help put this together and was at the landowner meeting. He's getting work done back at the office, so I'm here to present this. So per the statute, we must meet findings that say this is a public or private benefit, not impair utility or drainage of the system. But really, why are we here? We've met on CD 56 over the years on many different repairs, improvements, and landowners, city officials, SWCD, county staff, county board, we've all been working together. How do we improve the sediment coming into Lake Crystal and through the city? And we applied for a grant through the Bowser Storage Program and got the grant. So the SWCD led the grant efforts with the rest of us helping out, and we've been awarded a grant for $600,000. Now the legal parts of this is we want to make this storage basin part of the drainage system so it can be maintained in perpetuity, and it actually helps the drainage system. So this is a real fun one to talk about because a lot of work went into this and a lot of all of us together. Just some brief history on CD 56. This system's been in front of this board many times, established in 1920. This ditch gets cleaned on average every 8 years because of light soils, wind erosion, and other things, essentially sediment in the ditch. There was delta cleaning in Lake Crystal at the mouth of this system a couple years ago. And really all of this has led to how can we control some of the sediment, how can we reduce those cleanings, how can we keep sediment out of the city and out of the lake. So just a few things, like Craig said, the system's 9,000 acres, mostly agricultural row crops except for the city. Here's the watershed. So this red line is everything that is in CD 56. The blue line is the open ditch. It drains from south to north.
You're not coming up on our screen,
shoot.
Chuck.
I'm getting there, sorry.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't look, I'm just,
How quickly I forget.
We got the maps up here, but I don't know if everybody's got maps.
how's this? There we go. I don't need to back up, do I?
No.
All right. So here's the ditch system. The blue line's the open ditch. The city is on the north end, and the ditch drains into the lake. Our project location is in the yellow circle. So here's just some of those historical photos of sediment coming out of the mouth of the ditch system. Here's a culvert crossing within the city that is routinely cleaned out. We have some erosion that happens on the ditch because of the light soils. This project should help all of these things, not solve all of them, but will help all of these things. So here's an aerial view of the project site. So this is looking north. This is County Ditch 56. We're squaring up a little piece of property here, about 7 acres of land, about 5 acres of storage and wetland. And the ditch will be diverted into this area. This will be excavated out, and there'll be a large sediment trap, which I'll show you in detail here shortly. So here is the kind of one of the design sheets. The blue area is the storage basin. The yellow area is a 4-foot deep sediment trap that'll be able to be cleaned out routinely. Depending on weather, might be a 2 to 5 year cycle. But again, that should reduce cleanings along the open ditch and should reduce cleanings in the city itself. So in the long run, this should hopefully save maintenance on the ditch system. The green line is a buffer, so there'll be a buffer around the top of this basin that'll allow access, but also protect the side banks from erosion. Again, the basin's 5.5 acres. The total easement is 7 acres. It'll store 51 acre feet of water during flood events, and it'll capture just under 350 tons of sediment a year. So that's a lot of sediment that we can capture in this basin. There will be a weir constructed in the channel that will divert flow into the wetland or into the storage basin, and then a culvert at the outlet that'll control the flows to slow it down enough to drop off that sediment and increase storage value. Under large events, that weir will act as a bypass. It'll overtop and bypass the ditch, so that way we don't cause additional flooding further down upstream in the system. Another clarification, the orange area, that's where we're putting all the material. So all this will be taken out and then spread out approximately 1 to 3 feet in depth over this area. Shouldn't have to leave, go on a road, should all be able to be constructed within that same area. So there is some retiling. We'll be disturbing private tiling in this location. So there'll be a tile on the east side that'll connect in some tile that's currently there. So a little bit more detailed look at the grading plan, which we went over with landowners. Lots of riprap right where we're diverting the water in, and then this green line is the culvert that's going to control the flow at the outlet. The reason we're putting the sediment basin on the east side is we'll be able to go along the buffers and then take that material in the future out into the fields. Work with the landowners to do that maybe during non-crop times of the year. Here's the seeding plan and erosion control plan. We've had some experience with some of these large basins that we do get some wind erosion, and so we're going to look at more of a permanent erosion control treatment on the southeast corner with turf reinforcement mat. It's a plastic mat that grass can grow through, and then the rest of the basin will have an erodible erosion control mat, and then seeding the buffers in the bottom of the basin. There is a small tile diversion that we're proposing as part of this. It wasn't originally part of the grant, but we have reviewed the calculations, and the project still achieves the goals that it was going to achieve. This tile is very, very shallow. There's land to the west that is very, very shallow. This project does not increase flood elevations in the ditch, but I think just for drainage purposes, long-term maintenance, because this tile is not in good shape, we should reroute it around the weir, just a slight reroute. So that would be a repair to branch 1, moving that to the north side of the weir. This board knows about storage benefits, but it increases overall capacity, reduces peak flow rates. There will be permanent damages and temporary damages. Those were all factored into the grant. We have to topsoil strip the fill areas, put that material, then bring that topsoil back. We did do a hydraulic model of this, and it was required of the grant to do that, and you have to show that you have reduction of flows. We updated that model with the final design, looking at the storage area and the culverts upstream and downstream, and we show that we are reducing the flood elevations in the ditch system by 1/2 foot to 1 foot, upstream and downstream by 1/10 to 3/10. So it does have a positive benefit to the ditch system that we have more storage capacity during large flooding. And then it will obviously capture sediment, which will reduce cleanings. From a peak flow standpoint, we are reducing peak flows downstream, which will help also with erosion and flood events. Really, your smaller events, your 2 to 4 inch rains, big decrease in flows. The large events, because this is such a large drainage system, you have a little less effect on the system. So, but still, there is a positive effect. So project cost, we're estimating that the project's going to cost $662,000. The grant was for $596,075. That leaves about $65,925 left. The City of Lake Crystal and the Crystal Waters Group have committed $6,000 to this. This includes a 10% contingency. There may be a small amount that we may need contribution either from the county or the ditch system for this. I'm anticipating that we should come in very close to budget. This project does require prevailing wages because of the grant funding if it were approved in bid. So, in conclusion, the project is feasible, and I feel it is a benefit to the system. It will reduce flooding, capture sediment. We did have a landowner meeting last week. Very good participation, lots of questions. Everybody seemed pretty positive about the project, so we are recommending that you approve the project. If you do, we could bid it almost immediately, a couple weeks to finalize some details on the plans, review those with the SWCD, and we potentially could have construction after harvest this year, more than likely most of it next year, one or the other. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Does anybody from the board have a question for Chuck at this point, a clarifying question?
My only clarifying comment would be, Chuck, you said 6,000, you meant 60,000, 30,000 each.
Oh yes, sorry, 60,000,
There's
correct.
a difference, yeah.
Yes, yep.
Somebody's calling.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chuck, for that report. At this time, we will open up the public comment portion of the hearing. If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be respectful and civil. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and there is a 5-minute time limit. The county administrator will give you a 1-minute warning and let you know when you've used your allotted time. In addition, the board may restrict or limit the time allotted to a person whose remarks are repetitive or not relevant to the matter under consideration by the board. Is there anyone wishing to comment at this time on the impoundment? Anyone wishing to comment on the impoundment water for County Ditch 56 at this time? Last time, for anyone wishing to comment on the County Ditch 56 project, please come to the podium and state your name and address. Seeing no public comment, I will close the portion of the public hearing, bring it back to the county board for action. Anybody from the board have any other questions or comments at this time?
Well, I'll have some comments before that, though. I will move to
Okay.
accept the findings in order for the final report for the petition to impound water on CD 56, including the branch 1 reroute, and all necessary easements are obtained.
All right, thank you,
I'll
Kevin.
second
Do a
that.
second? Got a motion and a second. Discussion. Kevin?
I want to say a lot about this. I'll try not to say too much, but I mean, this is something we've worked a long time on. I mean, you know, when we had upstairs at the lakes, that was 3 years, 9 months, and 3 days ago, back in September of 2021, as we looked at different things to do. Certainly, this has got to win 3 ways, I think. We talked about the sediment. We'll capture the sediment, be able to do that. We'll also alleviate that load in the Crystal Lake, which we've talked about before. You know, 345 tons, that's a 40% reduction. Second is the storage, as it's going to aid in the flood prevention in Lake Crystal, the backup, as well as stability of the downstream water. And we're going to store that, as already been mentioned, but also saving the costs, future system costs, and quite frankly, the needs for a public waters permit to clean, as we've had in the past. So it didn't happen by itself. You know, certainly the Drainage Authority, Blue Earth County, City of Lake Crystal, Crystal Waters, the conservation groups, ISG, Bowser, both the Blue Earth County, SWCD. But things like this don't happen without landowner support and landowner buy-in, because that's what they're giving up. So, you know, want to certainly acknowledge Mike and Thomas Sant and others as landowners for working through this long project. We're not done yet, but I think we're going to have something here in Blue Earth County that is going to be showed off to the rest of the state as far as how water storage and sediment capture can work. So I would ask for everybody's support.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? I think the only thing I would add to that is this even goes further back than your, and I remember your force meeting because you came into that meeting with some buckets and had a little presentation, and we actually built a lot of consensus, I think, at that meeting. We worked diligently before that, but just were never really able to get it put together and move forward. But that, I remember that meeting specifically because it just seemed like it was kind of a rough area there, trying to figure out who's going to pay for it. But after we figured out that this can be done, and then things started moving in the right direction. So thanks for your help on that, Kevin. Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. This concludes our County Ditch 56 improvement hearing. So thank you everyone for your time. It looks like Craig has a whole list of other stuff for us here, so let's get to that. So now we'll move on to item number 5 on our agenda, drainage, and we'll start with, I got Judicial Ditch 15, appoint viewers first. Craig?
Yes. Excuse me. This is the appointment of viewers for a redetermination of benefits for Judicial Ditch 15. The Blue Earth County Judicial Ditch 15 watershed is approximately 3,000 acres in size and located in Lincoln Township. The current benefits listing was created in 1997 as part of a petition improvement, and a redetermination is required to reflect present-day land values and usages. At today's meeting in the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we are requesting an order to appoint viewers to complete a redetermination of benefits for Judicial Ditch 15.
All right, do I have a motion? Yep, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the Judicial Ditch 15 viewers. Second item I got is County Ditch 47.
Yes.
Okay.
3 items on 47.
Okay.
Okay. County Ditch 47 petition for removal. A petition for removal was received by the Property and Environmental Resources Drainage staff on May 23rd, 2023 under 103E.805. Petitioner Jay Ingalls is seeking to remove properties from County Ditch 47, a public drainage system, including removal of benefits on petition properties. The petition alleges that the petition acres are no longer benefited by the County Ditch 47 public drainage system. The petition states that there are no parts of County Ditch 47 provides an outlet to the petition area, and removing the petition area will in no way prejudice the remaining property owners or property remaining in County Ditch 47 public drainage system. Blue Earth County Drainage Attorney Cale Van Buren from Rinky-Duna has reviewed the proposed petition documentation and found them to be adequate for the proceedings. Attorney Van Bruggen also recommends that an engineer and a viewer be appointed to provide their respective review reports for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103E.805. At today's Drainage Authority meeting, we are asking the Drainage Authority to approve the draft findings in order, ordering the appointment of an engineer and viewer for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103E.805.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Second item here on number 47 is very similar. A petition for removal was received by the Property and Environmental Resources Department's drainage staff on April 11th, 2025 under 103E.805. The petitioners John Ingalls and Donna Ingalls are seeking the removal of properties from County Ditch 47, a public drainage system, including removal of benefits on petition properties. The petition alleges that the petition acres are no longer benefited by the County Ditch 47 drainage system. The petition states that no part of County Ditch 47 provides an outlet to the petition area, and removing the petitioned area will in no way prejudice the remaining property owners or property remaining in the County Ditch 47 public drainage system. Blue Earth County Drainage Attorney Cale Van Bruggen of Rinky-Duna has reviewed the proposed petition documentation and found them to be adequate for these proceedings. Attorney Van Bruggen also recommends that the engineer and a viewer be appointed to provide their respective review reports for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103E.805. At today's Drainage Authority meeting, we are asking the Drainage Authority to approve the draft findings in order, ordering the appointment of a viewer and engineer and a viewer for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103E.805.
Thank you, Craig.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item for the day. A petition for removal was received by the Property and Environmental Resources staff on April 25th, 2025 under 103E.805. The petitioners Franklin Klinkner and Sandra Klinkner are seeking the removal of properties from County Ditch 47, a public drainage system including removal of benefits on petition properties. Petition alleges that the petition acres are no longer benefited by the County Ditch 47 public drainage system. The petition states there is no part of County Ditch 47 provides an outlet to the petition area, and removing the petition area will in no way prejudice the remaining property owners or property remaining in the County Ditch 47 public drainage system. Blue Earth County Drainage Authority Cale R. Van Bruggen from Rinky-Duna has reviewed the proposed petition documentation and found it to be adequate for the proceedings. Attorney Van Bruggen also recommends that an engineer and a viewer be appointed to provide their respective review reports for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103E.805. At today's Drainage Authority meeting, we are asking the Drainage Authority to approve the draft findings in order, ordering the appointment of an engineer and a viewer for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103.805.
Thank you, Craig.
I'll move it.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move down to item number 6, Property and Environmental Resources. Michael. Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, guys.
Chuck.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Michael. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, for the record, Michael Stolberger, Director of Property and Environmental Resources. I have 3 items for you today from the department. The first one is a request to purchase and add on to our enterprise assessment and tax software. That is our Tyler system. It's our CAMA system. It's how we generate our tax bills. As you remember, we converted to that system in 2024. As we worked through that conversion, one area that was lacking was good information on commercial and industrial properties. the components that go into building those properties that are special uses in many instances. The software now has an option to add on through Marshall & Swift, which is a valuation company that's well known across the country, to bring in their commercial and industrial property information. And so we are looking to add this on to our contract. Our intentions are to add this through MCCC. We should be able to buy it through the consortium and get some price savings on that, as well as we would be able to share some of those costs with other counties that are also members and users of the system. So as you can see, there's a one-time conversion fee of $18,600, and then that annualized cost would be $3,000. That's to update the records to get the latest and greatest on the building component pricing. Lots of value for us in this edition. It helps us value those properties, but what it'll really do is help us defend our values in tax court and otherwise, preventing some appraisal work that would need to be done or be hired through outside consulting firms. So looking for an opportunity here for the board to support that decision and allow us to acquire the Tyler, Marshall & Swift valuation model.
All right,
I'll
thank you,
move
Michael.
approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the Marshall & Swift valuation model. Any questions or comments? Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And then, Mr. Chair, if you're okay, I'll move on to the next two items that go hand in hand.
Yep.
These are purchases at the Ponderosa landfill. These are purchases that were included in our capital budget, and they are part of our plan to keep our equipment up to date and current out there, always trying to replace them as their extended warranties or their maintenance plans end for multiple reasons. One being it's really expensive to repair this equipment, so that adds on a pretty large cost when we have components of them go down. But it also allows us to better stage the purchases so that we aren't hit with so many capital purchases in each and every year. So that's exactly what we're doing with these two items. The first item is the CAT 963 crawler loader. I am talking outside of school. I don't know this equipment as well as our supervisor, but he tells me that this piece of equipment is important for us to actually move earthen materials and other materials around the landfill. The current version is a 2019 model. Warranty expires on Caterpillar equipment after 6 years, and so that puts us due here at the end of this year. With the lead time getting this equipment, this will be purchased in very early 2026. We are proposing to step up in size, to have a larger bucket on there to allow us to move materials a little bit more efficiently. And the purchase price, as you can see, inclusive of the preventative maintenance plan, is $740,000. Which is under what was budgeted for that for the 2026 capital budget plan for the landfill. So I would like to entertain that one separately for request to authorize the purchase of that piece of equipment, the CAT 963 crawler loader.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to buy a new piece of equipment. Any discussion?
Is that, it's available?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioner. There is still a lead time on them. We're looking at like 6 months to 8 months, depending on the type of equipment, and so that puts us right in line with when that warranty will expire. And then we'll just have to hope that that little bridge there, we don't have any major repair issues with the piece of equipment. So lead times have gotten better, but it's still out there, and we just need to plan around that.
Okay, thank you.
And what are we doing with the old one?
Those are, Commissioner, Mr. Chair, those are traded in, so that is a net price after trade-in. Yeah, these are very expensive pieces of equipment. It's crazy to look at the sticker price on some of these items.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, Mr. Chair, then the third item here, the last item for us today is authorization to purchase a replacement for our 850 crawler dozer. Again, we're looking at stepping this up in size. This would be a John Deere 950P. Same sort of cycle here where we run through the preventative maintenance warranty period, and then we look for replacement so that we always have equipment that is under warranty. Trade-in value included in that, the preventative maintenance plan included in that for a net cost of $642,650. Again, included in the Ponderosa's capital budget for 2026, which is when we would receive that equipment after the order is placed and the lead time is met. So this piece of equipment is really important to us because it helps us move the waste around the landfill's working phase. So it is a good piece of equipment that we want to make sure that we keep keep as operable as possible, as much as possible.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to buy another piece of equipment for the landfill. The only comment I would have, or kind of a question, I would imagine if that piece of equipment does go down, it is problematic because you have to fill that cover every night, right?
Correct.
So you have to get highway out there or someone else out there to.
Well, yeah, Mr. Chair, actually what we do is amongst our large or our heavy equipment out there, we do have redundancies built in. So like the loader that we just talked about
Yeah, I
there
see in
can
there they
fill us
use that
in there
for-
if we need to have that
Okay,
be a
that would
backup
be-
for the
okay.
compactor. So we try not to use them in those alternative modes just because they're not efficient. That's why we keep them under the warranty so we can get them repaired as quickly as possible. But they each kind of are able to fill a secondary role if we do have a piece of
Sure.
equipment go down.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Michael.
Have a good day. All right, we will move down to item number 7, Public Works. We got Nick here today helping us out, Associate Engineer from the Highway Department. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's our privilege. You
Chairperson
get to
Gordon.
come and see us.
Again, I'm Nick Engel, the Public Works Department, Associate Engineer. I have 2 items on my list to go over today. The first one is consider a resolution for the County State Aid Highway Municipal Construction Funds advance. We have budgeted to utilize past, current, and future allocations of our county, state aid highway municipal construction funds for the construction of County State Aid Highway 15 and 28 in the city of St. Clair. And this construction will begin this summer. This project budget includes advance of our 2026 CASA municipal construction allocation towards this project. The enclosed resolution requests an advance of nearly all of the anticipated funds for the municipal construction funds to be used for this project. The practice of advancing these funds is a common for a lot of counties due to the large price of urban construction projects and the relatively small amount of annual allocations in this fund. I request that you approve the enclosed resolution.
All right, thank you, Nick. Any questions for Nick?
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? This is exciting to get that project going this year,
Yes.
so thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, no other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The second item is to consider a resolution supporting the planning document development by MAPO. The request approval of the enclosed resolution requesting MAPO to conduct a corridor study of County State Aid Highway 16 Stoltzman Road from 1,000 feet south of Pleasant Street to Riverfront Drive, including an updated ice report at Pleasant Street. This is in advance of our 2027 construction of Stoltzman Road, and this study will be done in 2026. And I request that you approve the enclosed resolution.
All right, thank you, Nick. Any questions for Nick? on
So
this item?
moved.
Got a motion, do I have a
Second.
second? Got a motion and a second, any discussion?
It's
Hearing none,
it's gonna be a
all in
little
favor?
fun, I think.
Busy corridor down
That is
there.
gonna be, yeah, that was gonna get some discussion, so it'll be good to have the study done.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Nick. Good
Thank
seeing you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for all your work, appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to item number 8, opioid settlement expenditure. Josh, good morning, Josh.
Morning, Josh.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Today you have one item for board approval. It's for expenditure of opioid settlement funds. Our group had met again and reviewed a request from the South Central Community Based Initiative in the amount of $10,000. And what this funding is doing is through the SCCBI, they're partnering with all the counties within that joint powers to hire a project manager to work to plan for the establishment of a regional children's crisis center. So it's in the early stages, but using this money for planning. If there's any money left over, they would use this to continue with the implementation plans. And under the our opioid settlement, this falls under G8 and G12 for approved uses of settlement funds. So I'd respectfully request the board to approve the amount of $10,000 for the project.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Josh. County Attorney update. Megan, do you have anything to the?
She just got a
She got a call.
Okay. Well, as always, the county attorney gives us an update once a month. It's in our packet, and I'm sure he would be willing to answer any questions if we have them, but we'll just note that it's in there.
There she is.
Oh, there's Megan. Did you have anything to add for the report? No, that's fine.
I do not. If you have any questions, I can certainly take them back and we'll get them answered.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any questions for Megan at this time? We appreciate the report Pat gives us, so that's a good report. With that, we will move on to item number 10, administration.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is the county board minutes for May 27th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
Move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to pay the bills. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, tab 15 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. We have one action item for the board's consideration today. I've asked Director Elvebach to join the meeting and give you a little more information on the salary adjustment procedures.
All right. Hi, Laura. Come on up.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chair and Commissioners, I'm Laura Elvebach, Human Resources Director. I'm here today presenting requesting approval to the updates to our salary adjustment procedures. The revisions are needed to align with some Minnesota statute that was recently revised, which prohibits using pay history to determine compensation for positions through a competitive process. So some of the key changes would include that we no longer consider current or past pay when setting salaries. It clarifies salary factors. Compensation decisions will be based on qualifications, experience, performance, and other lawful job-related criteria. Also defines internal actions such as procedures for promotions, reclassifications, demotions, and temporary assignments. And then also talks about annual step progression, which remains in place, and then allows elected department directors, they can may set step placement for key positions within authorized salary ranges. So I recommend the approval of the procedures, which would be effective June 15th, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Laura.
I'll move
Questions?
it.
Got a motion? Do I have a second? Got a motion and a second. Discussion. We talked about this a little bit at the department head meeting, so we're all aware of it. I think my opinion personally is I think it'll give us a little more leeway, but it will muddy the waters to say. I mean, the system we had before was very systematic, and this will just give a little more leeway, which is always problematic or not. But in my opinion, I think it'll help us, to be honest with you. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Well, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, then under informational items, we have a lateral transfer of a social worker to a probation officer in the Community Corrections Department. Then we did receive a resignation of a social worker in our Child and Adult Protection Assessment area. And lastly, we've initiated recruitment to refill a probation officer, one position that we had been holding open for a period of time.
Okay, thank you,
Be
Bob.
happy to answer any questions the board might have on any of those items.
Any questions for Bob? Okay.
Item number 16 then in your packet is a application for a temporary on-sale liquor license by the Blue Earth County Fair Association for the fair in July. And so we're recommending approval of this application.
Move to approve.
Got a motion and a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 17 in your packet then is an application for an exempt gambling permit by Ducks Unlimited Lost Marsh, Chapter 105. They are holding an event at the Indian Island Winery in August. And so we're recommending approval.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the gambling permit. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 18 in your packet then is the financial status report for May 31st. You'll see that our total revenues now after the first half taxes have been received sit at 60.7 million against expenses of 61.8. Again, not terribly surprising given the amount of expenditure related to our Public Works building project. So we're sitting in better shape probably than maybe I would have expected given the amount of outlay for that project. Our state and federal revenues at the top of the page still lag behind last year and a little bit behind our budget, hoping that'll catch up here in June. You'll see our local tax levy, first half collections have been received. We did receive a little more than half, so we are seeing a continuing trend of some prepayments there. Transportation sales tax is a little bit behind our budget target at this point in the year, and again, I mentioned that at the last report that that's an area that we're continuing to monitor. On the upside, our interest on investments is up from last year and is exceeding our budgeted target, so that's the bright spot on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, our public aid assistance is just slightly over budget, although down a little bit from last year at this time. Salaries continue to put pressure on our overall budget. The contracts and fees line, it's down a little bit from last year and a little bit below our budget target at this point in the year. Again, that's a little bit cyclical with our construction projects, and we'll see that line grow over the next few months. The building and equipment purchase line, you'll see at $16.8 million. That's again reflective of the Public Works building and a little bit above our target for this time of year, but again, we've had some concentration of those expenditures as the project has really been proceeding well. On the enterprise fund, towards the bottom of the page, this is our Ponderosa landfill. You'll see revenues at just under 2.3 million with expenses just under 1.5 million. Obviously, some of the activity today for purchase of large capital equipment can impact that, although I don't expect those two particular items to show up until the 2026 budget. But we still will kind of monitor this budget. We should finish out this year in good shape. The second page then has our cash and investment balances. You'll see that towards the top of the page, our total available funds sit at 87.2 million. Our 6-month operating needs are at 74.3 million. Again, with the first half taxes being collected, we're a little above that target at this point in time, but with the June expenditures, we should see it come back down. The total county funds then sit at 138.9 million, which is down from the previous year. Be happy to answer any questions the board might have on the financial status report.
Any questions? Nope. Thank you for that report, Bob. That brings me to the end of my agenda. If there's nothing else for this meeting, we'll move on to committee reports. Commissioners' reports. Patty, I'll start with you today.
All righty. After our last meeting on May 28th, I had the community ed meeting and the Spirit of Youth event. On the 29th, I had a NACO ledge call. June 4th, department heads, and June 7th, I went to the Rapidan Museum open house.
Did you make it? Good for
I
you.
did. And that's it.
Oh,
And
thank
my
you, Commissioner.
report.
Vance.
Let's see, on June 2nd, I had an MRCI Board Finance Committee, and then that was followed by a MRCI Board meeting. On the 3rd, I had a NACO Membership Committee meeting on Zoom. Had the department head meeting on the 4th, and on the 5th, I had a TZD Steering Committee meeting on Zoom, and that was it with me.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Mark.
I had on June 4th again, yep, like others, the department heads meeting. And June 5th had a Maple board meeting in the evening. And then on June 6th, we did have an ASA virtual meeting on some change orders for the rink, ice rink there. And then June 6th had a Cimerex meeting in Otana. That's recycling items. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Kevin.
Since the May 27th board meeting on the 29th, I participated in the ISG drainage event. On the 30th, we had Gabirba Policy Committee. June 2nd, we had PACE Committee as well as Renewable Minnesota Energy Board meetings in Slayton. On the 4th, I was at department heads as well as the CD 56 landowner meeting. The 5th, we had the SWCD board meeting. I too on the 7th was at the Rapidan open house, and then on the 9th, we had a NACO Ag Leadership Call and Minnesota River One Watershed One Plan meeting in St. Peter. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm glad we had some representation at the Historical Society event that Paula invited us to, but I was at graduations and family things and busy weekend. So thank you guys for going to that. As was mentioned, department head was mentioned. I did have planning and zoning. We'll see a couple items at the end of this month. Nothing alarming. Everything went really well at the meeting. Had my SECB legislative meeting. Of course, they're just kind of waiting for the legislature to wrap up, but we really didn't get a whole lot passed that we needed done. So kind of same business as usual. SWCD was mentioned. Highway 14 partnership, we talked with the city of Eagle Lake and MnDOT and Bolton and Mink about the study they did about the interchanges in Eagle Lake. We are trying to dial in on what we will support and get the unified support from the city and from the county. The city is still kind of leaning towards 2 intersections. They would like to see a high T at Casey's and then a full interchange on the east end of the town. But I just think that is just a big ask in this environment, and to try to get 2 intersections in a small community at this point. So we're strategically trying to figure out what we should ask for. And I tried to explain to the people in the meeting that it's a lot of work for the staff at the county just to try to build those roads, not including the funding portions. We both have, on both those intersections, we have a leg that comes into that. So very problematic from the standpoint of financing, but also from the, just the staff issues, trying to lobby for money and get that stuff done. So, but we had a good conversation. Things are working the right direction. And then I also had several ditch issues that I had to deal with and some gravel road issues, but they were township roads. But we still managed to get drug into them, don't we, Kevin? So, but that is my report. I would entertain a motion to recess to go to Jake Stadium Pizza later.
So move.
Got a motion? Do I have a second? Got a motion and a second to recess. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are recessed.